So the answer is when you're at 0 degrees Celsius and you have a water ice equilibrium, thermal equilibrium established where no further heat transfer is taking place, इस condition में अगर तुम pressure बढ़ाओगे, what is going to happen is as you increase the pressure, maintaining that temperature, you're going to reach a point which lies in the water section of the graph. So of course, if you increase your pressure at 0 degrees Celsius, you are going to get water. Jitna bhi ice baki tha equilibrium pe, all that ice will get converted to water. And uska explanation graph ke point of view se maine thoda simple words mein likha hai. On moving upwards from the ice point, we get water. In simple words, on moving upward from the ice point on this graph, we'll of course get water. That's the graphical explanation. The other explanation is water is more dense than ice. So when you increase pressure on an object, that object is going to pick the more compact formation. In other words, when you increase pressure on an object, you will expect that object's volume to decrease. तो किसका वॉल्यूम कम होता है? The same mass of ice or the same mass of water? Normally solids का कम होता है, but water behaves in this weird way, anomalous way, कि water का वॉल्यूम ice के वॉल्यूम से कम है for the same mass. Water ज़्यादा dense है, ज़्यादा compact है. Water is more dense than ice. That's why ice floats on water. ठीक है? So when you increase pressure, water is going to pick the more dense form, the lesser volume form. तो उसको press करोगे तो it's going to get converted to water and not ice, because water is more dense than ice. So that's another way you can understand this answer. Got it? Any doubts in this? No doubts? ठीक है. All right. Can I explain the graph point of view? Graph point of view in simple words, यहाँ पे ऐसा है कि 0 degrees Celsius is your ice point where ice and water are at equilibrium. यहाँ से तुम अगर प्रेशर बढ़ाओगे तो प्रेशर y एक्सिस के लॉन्ग है, तो x कोऑर्डिनेट वही रख के अगर तुमने y कोऑर्डिनेट बढ़ा दिया तो you'll reach this point. What exists in that point? Water exists in that point. तो यहाँ से तुम्हें पता चल रहा है कि अगर प्रेशर बढ़ाओगे तो वाटर बनेगा, एंड प्रेशर कम किया तो आइस बनेगा. Got it? Yes, Pratik, yes. All right. एक बार ये प्लैटिनम रेजिस्टेंस थर्मोमीटर आई थिंक 2 लोग का रिक्वेस्ट है, जल्दी से समझा दूंगा, एंड देन वील मूव टू कैलोरीमेट्री. ओके, सो प्लैटिनम रेजिस्टेंस थर्मोमीटर, so in a platinum resistance thermometer you have so resistance is proportional to thermometer to the temperature. ठीक है? This varies linearly with temperature. So linear variation के कारण we can define this kind of relation between resistance and temperature. ये एक specific relation है कि मान लो 0 degrees Celsius पे तुम्हें resistance पता है and 100 degrees Celsius पे resistance पता है, तो कुछ random सा temperature पे तुम्हें resistance निकालना है, तो you can use this equation. A more general equation would be of this type. जैसे मैंने नीचे एक example दिया था जिसमें 0 डिग्री सेल्सियस एंड 100 डिग्री सेल्सियस के बगैर के जगह 59 डिग्री फ़ारेनहाइट पे रेजिस्टेंस बता दिया 3 ओम, एंड 95 डिग्री फ़ारेनहाइट पे रेजिस्टेंस बता दिया 5 ओम, एंड क्वेश्चन था कि एब्सोल्यूट टेम्परेचर क्या होगा एट 8.5 ओम. The simple idea is, look at that, 59 degree Fahrenheit corresponds to 3 ohm. तो R1 and T1 के जगह क्या लोगे? 3 ohms and 59 degrees Fahrenheit. R1 and T1 के जगह 3 and 59 respectively place किया. R2 and T2 क्या हो जाएगा? 95 and 5. यानी कि R2 के जगह 5 ohm डाल दिया, T2 के जगह 95 degrees Fahrenheit डाल दिया. What is left now is मुझे I need the temperature when resistance is 8.5. I need the corresponding temperature when resistance is 8.5. तो T अननोन है, उसको T लिखा, बट रेजिस्टेंस जो पता है उसकी जगह 8.5 डाल दिया. ये सब सॉल्व करके मुझे टेम्परेचर आ गया. किस में आया? ऑब्वियसली फ़ारेनहाइट में आएगा, बिकॉज ऑल दीज वैल्यूज दैट आई एम सब्स्टिट्यूटिंग हियर आर इन फ़ारेनहाइट, है ना. तो यहाँ पे आई एम सेइंग कि रेजिस्टेंस इन ओम्स इज प्रोपोर्शनल टू द टेम्परेचर इन द फ़ारेनहाइट स्केल. ये जो आंसर आ गया ये 158 कैलकुलेशन के हिसाब से आता है in Fahrenheit. Finally, what we need to answer is, watch out for this term, absolute temperature. Absolute temperature means temperature in Kelvin. तो हमने क्या किया, हमने फ़ारेनहाइट को केल्विन में, सेल्सियस में कन्वर्ट किया, और सेल्सियस से फिर 273 ऐड करके केल्विन में आंसर निकाल दिया. गॉट द आइडिया? Yeah, so you don't really need to get into how this apparatus looks at all. You don't need to get into how this apparatus looks. I would assume there is some way of measuring resistance live. The way of measuring resistance would have to do with, you send current and then measure potential difference. So there is a constant way of measuring resistance, and based on that, they'll set up a scale. You don't need to know the setup of this apparatus. As such, I mentioned these types of thermometers are not specifically in your syllabus, but somewhere in current electricity you'll learn कि resistance temperature के proportional है. तो वो पता होके वो एक ऐसा थर्मोमीटर पे सवाल बना सकते हैं. ठीक है, सो आई एम जस्ट एक्सपोजिंग यू टू दोस आइडियाज कि अगर ऐसा बनाया, नोइंग कि रेजिस्टेंस टेम्परेचर के प्रोपोर्शनल है, तो ऐसा सवाल बन सकता है. सिमिलरली एक बार ये कांस्टेंट गैस वॉल्यूम गैस थर्मोमीटर को ही पूछ रहा है. अगेन आई जस्ट गो ओवर इट क्विकली. कांस्टेंट वॉल्यूम, आइडियल गैस के लिए अगर वॉल्यूम कांस्टेंट है तो फिर उसका प्रेशर टेम्परेचर के प्रोपोर्शनल होगा. Again, if there is a linear relationship, then I would say you use this equation, T minus some temperature, T minus T naught upon T 100 minus T naught is corresponding pressures के बीच में relation. तो P minus P naught upon P 100 minus P naught. That's the general idea. Okay? Baki, I hope there's no doubt in this question that we did, right? Yeah, a question may be doubted. No doubts. Okay, cool. So with that, let's start with a new chapter called calorimetry. Just give me a minute. 1 second. एक सेकंड ना. All right. So this is a new section called as calorimetry. So ये जो अपना ये जो सेक्शन है थर्मोमेट्री वाला जो सेक्शन हुआ, इस पे आई डोंट थिंक बुकलेट में कुछ क्वेश्चन ज्यादा होगा भी. तो थर्मोमेट्री के लिए जस्ट गिव यू क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम योर HCV. Calorimetry onwards, we can do questions from the booklet. Booklet has a vast collection of questions, तो वहां से कर सकते हैं. Okay. All right. So first and foremost, yeah, so let me give you the definition of calorimetry so you'll have some idea as to what you can expect in this chapter. ठीक है, तो कैलोरीमेट्री का डेफिनेशन देख लेते हैं. All right. So calorimetry, it is the process of measuring is the process of measuring heat released, process of measuring heat released or absorbed during a specific process. See, that's the basic idea. So calorimetry, metry normally has to always do with measuring, and calorie was the original first unit of heat. So calorimetry ka bigger idea is the process of measuring heat transferred during a specific process. Thermometry was a way of measuring temperature. Calorimetry is a way of measuring heat transferred. Remember, we are never going to talk about heat contained in a body because that's a meaningless concept. Heat is always energy being transferred. So calorimetry is a way of measuring that energy that is, or that heat that is being transferred. Got it? All right. So, okay. Now, one of these things is, we'll talk about the units of heat. Okay. So the units of heat, well, you have your SI unit, which is going to be joules. Okay. SI unit is going to be joules. You have, one of these asking, is CGS unit calories? No. You know? So you have another unit. This is your traditional unit, that, or an alternative unit that's typically used for heat, and that is calories. ठीक है? Calories, जिसका symbol है cal, CAL. And you have a CGS unit. So please understand the difference. Of course, CGS unit would be one which comes from using centimeters, grams, and seconds. And ये तुमने देखा है work के वक्त. What unit? What is the unit of work in the CGS scale? Erg. So erg will be the CGS unit. Calories is not the CGS unit of heat, but calories is a commonly used unit, just like joules. Okay, and we're going to look in particular at the definition of calories. Of course, you guys know at this stage ki 1 joule is 10 raised to 7 erg, wo pata hai, no problem there. Erg is just written like that, ERG. So 1 joule is 10 raised to 7 ergs, and calories और joule के बीच में क्या रिश्ता है वो एक बार देखने के पहले let's see the definition of 1 calorie. So what is the definition of 1 calorie? प्रतीक, वैसा वैसा उल्टा हो गया. पहले एक बार definition देखते हैं. 1 calorie, it is the amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water from 14.5 degrees Celsius 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius. at 1 atm. At 1 atm. Okay, this is called as 1 calorie. So 1 calorie is the amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius. Okay, that is the idea. That is 1 calorie. 1 calorie is typically the heat you would need to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. Is the amount of heat that you would need to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. And now the point is कि 1 degree Celsius raise in temperature के लिए you will find कि 1 degree Celsius का rise in temperature के लिए you would not always need the it would not always take the same amount of heat. हाँ वही बता रहा हूँ. 1 degree Celsius rise in temperature के लिए अप्रोक्सीमेटली सेम हीट लगता है बट एग्जैक्टली सेम नहीं लगता है. 1 डिग्री सेल्सियस राइज इन टेम्परेचर के लिए अप्रोक्सीमेटली सेम हीट लगता है बट एग्जैक्टली सेम नहीं लगता है. सो व्हाइल डिफाइनिंग अ यूनिट they had to pick a specific 1 degree Celsius rise. For all 1 degree Celsius rises in temperature, the amount of heat required is more or less the same, not exactly the same. So just to get a very specific value, they decided to take 14.5 to 15.5. Now, why exactly that? I'm not sure. You can look into that. But why it had to be a specific value, that I can tell you. क्यों एक specific range define करना था? Because अलग-अलग range के लिए you can expect कि in general अलग-अलग थोड़ा सा अलग-अलग amount of heat लगेगा. So they had to zone in and pick one specific range and define the unit based on that specific range. Got it? See? So that's the definition for 1 calorie. Let me just see what your doubts are. Yes, calorie अभी लिखूंगा 1. अच्छा चल लिख ही लेता हूँ. 1 calorie is approximately, or in fact it's, you can say it's approximately, you can say it's 4.186, 4.18 रख लो, 4.18 joules, or is approximately 4.2 joules. 4.18 के आसपास is the exact value. 4.186 के आसपास is the exact value. Okay, so this is calorie. You can always take approximately, you can pick this value. You can use 4.2. 4.2 is the value you can take. ठीक है, अब इतना इस पे रुक जाते हैं. कैलोरी और अर्र के बीच में यार ऑफ कोर्स तुम कर सकते हो यार. 4.2 जूल्स के सामने 10⁻⁷ डाल दो तो कैलोरी और अर्र के बीच में रिश्ता आ गया. These are two equations जिससे बाकी काम हो जाएगा. Now what else? Okay, one of you is saying calories in food का भी यही फंडा है क्या? Yes, so calories again. Calories, the amount of heat that's heat as such is can be defined for any chemical reaction as well. So based on the food you eat, some energy is going to be released. That energy that will be released can be defined as heat, that can be measured in calories. But I think from a nutrition perspective, in English what we call as calories is actually kilocalories. If I'm not wrong, जिसमें loosely हम बोलते हैं ना कि I gained 10 calories, I mean I've consumed 10 calories का food. They say 10 calories loosely, but the most technical term would be 10 kilocalories. Okay, so that's the idea. जो food वगैरह आता है, they are actually in kilocalories, but loosely in English I think we have developed the habit of calling it in calories. ठीक है, तो ऐसा एक गड़बड़ हो गया. But this is the definition of calorie. Calorie का symbol is CAL. ठीक है, calorie का symbol is CAL, and 1 calorie is 4.2 joules. Okay, 1 calorie is 4.2 joules. ठीक है, cool. Any other doubt? Specific heat का concept हाँ आगे आएगा. Calorie and calorific value. तो again, calorific value of a food is technically measured in kilocalories. कोई बोलेगा ना समोसा का 200 calories, that's actually 200 kilocalories. उसको loosely for some reason people call that calories loosely, but if you see what is written in it, it will always be kilocalories. And कोई बोल रहा है caloric value of fuel को भी ऐसा बोल सकते हैं क्या? बिल्कुल. तो again caloric value of fuel would again have to do with how much energy is released, maybe per mole of that fuel, or how much energy is released per kilogram of that fuel. So फिर caloric value in that sense would be per mole per gram. कितना एनर्जी रिलीज होता है उसको बर्न करने में. हाँ, असली कैलोरी ये है, CAL. असली कैलोरी ये है. ठीक है. यस पृथ्वीराज, यस. फूड के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में हीट रिलीज या एनर्जी रिलीज वो कैलोरीज में मेजर कर सकते हैं. Since heat is a form of energy, you can also use calories to measure energy as such. Okay, cool. Yeah, no confusion there. That was not the place I was expecting a lot of doubts. You're definitely going to have a lot of doubts in this next section. So I would just suggest ये पहले ये section के लिए एक बार पूरा कहानी सुन लो, and then you can ask your doubts for this specific section. Okay? The mechanical equivalent of heat. Allow me to explain this completely till the end, and then let's see whether you've got it or not. Okay? बीच में सुनते सुनते वक्त तुम्हें लगेगा कुछ doubt आ रहा है. Let's just be patient till the end. So the story is that earlier heat was not recognized as a form of energy. Let me get rid of that underline. Earlier, heat was not recognized as a form of energy. People didn't realize that heat was a form of energy. Then people thought it only changed temperature or the phase मतलब solid liquid gas of a substance. So people thought it only changed temperature or the phase of a substance. But however, later it was proved that supplying heat is equivalent to doing mechanical work. Later it was proved that supplying heat is equivalent to doing mechanical work. All right. Now, based on that idea, the mechanical equivalent later it was proved that supplying heat is equivalent to doing mechanical work. The mechanical equivalent of heat is the conversion factor mechanical equivalent of heat is the conversion factor to be multiplied to heat to get the equivalent amount of work, to get its equivalent amount of work. See, it is neither, it's neither a constant, it's neither a constant nor a physical quantity. It's neither a constant nor a physical quantity. Okay? Its symbol is, it's represented by the symbol J. Ek minute Tarun, is represented by the symbol J, and this is not to be confused, not to be confused with joules. Okay? Not to be confused with joules. It's represented by the symbol J and is not to be confused with joules. Okay, so what on earth is going on? Let me explain that. The equation, the underlying equation is W is equal to J times H. W is equal to J times H. J is your mechanical equivalent. ठीक, तो इसको समझना कैसे है? जैसे if मान लो mechanical equivalent is like a conversion factor. So for instance, if work and heat are both in joules, if work and heat are both in joules, then your mechanical equivalent is equal to 1. Q? Because if work and heat are both in joules, we know कि 1 joule of work is equal to 1 joule of heat. 1 joule of work is equal to 1 joule of, is equivalent to 1 joule of heat. ये हार्ट आ रहा है क्या कहीं ना कहीं पे? So कहाँ पे लिखा है? Come on. So if work and heat are both in joules, एक second, let me just finish this entire thing, then I'll explain. So work and heat are both in joules, then J is 1. This is the natural number 1. 1 joule of work is 1 joule of heat. तो यहाँ पे 1 है ना? तो if 1 joule of work is equivalent to 1 joule of heat, यहाँ पे जो conversion factor है, conversion का जरूरत ही नहीं है ना? So it's just 1. So in this context, it will be dimensionless. But in another context, मान लो if work is in joules, if work is in joules and H is in calories, if work is in joules and H is in calories, then J कितना होगा? तो H को कितने से मल्टीप्लाई करना पड़ेगा? Then J is equal to 4.2 joules per calorie, या 4.18 joules per calorie. J is equal to 4.2 joules per calorie. Okay, so I'll explain what is going on. Okay, so in this context, J will behave as a conversion factor. Okay, in this context, J will behave as a conversion factor. So just to avoid avoid confusion, मैं deliberately joules को उसके full form में लिख रहा हूँ. Okay, so that there's no confusion between J for joules and J for mechanical equivalent of heat. So this is the story. So what is the story? Heat was not originally recognized as a form of energy. People just thought it changed temperature or phase. Later it was proved. You know, I mean, this is the idea on which engines work. It was proved that by supplying heat, you can do mechanical work, and therefore heat and work are different forms of energy, or different ways of transferring energy. So the mechanical equivalent of heat, defined through this equation represented by the symbol J, is a conversion factor to be multiplied to heat. So it appears on the heat side of the equation to get its equivalent amount of work. It's neither a constant nor a physical quantity. It's represented by the symbol J. Why is it not a constant? It's not a constant because J का value depends on the units you are using. ठीक है? So for instance, जैसे बहुत simple सा idea है कि मान लो तुमने बोला कि heat is 3 calories. अब this is equivalent to how much amount of work? तो कैसे निकालोगे तुम work, how much amount of work in joules? ठीक है? This is equal to how much amount of work in joules. तो हाँ, yes, ये कैसे निकालोगे? तो work in joules के लिए तुम अपना mechanical equivalent of heat डाल दोगे. Mechanical equivalent of heat is 4.2. ठीक है? और फिर यहाँ पे तुम heat डाल दोगे. And heat कितना है? 3 calories. In fact, पूरा डाल देता हूँ. Mechanical equivalent of heat is 4.2. इधर नीचे लिख लेता हूँ with the units. So if you want work in joules, you will say it is J into H. You'll say it's J into H, and J is 4.2 joules per calorie. Joules ऐसे deliberately full form में लिख रहा हूँ. 4.2 joules per calorie into heat. It's like a conversion factor. 3 calorie कितना work है in joules? 4.2 into 3. तो you of course answer that. 12.6 इतना joules है. अब ये तो तुम्हें कन्वर्जन आता है, तो तुम्हें ऑफ कोर्स तुम ऐसा सोच के तुम कन्वर्ट नहीं करोगे. यू नो कि 1 कैलोरी इज 4.2 जूल्स. व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट इन दिस इज नोइंग व्हाट दिस टर्म मींस. वो चीज में क्लैरिटी चाहिए. तो यू शुड जस्ट नो व्हाट मैकेनिकल इक्विवेलेंट ऑफ हीट मींस. यू शुड अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट J represents. So J represents a conversion factor. So what I just explained was this sentence. ये पिछले वाले में I hope you understand why J is 1. पिछले वाले में J is 1 because 1 joule of work is 1 joule of heat. तो ये conversion factor का जरूरत ही नहीं था. वो दोनों side units are the same, तो J is as good as 1. And yes, J is not a constant because depending on the units, J का अलग अलग value आ सकता है. अलग अलग value आ रहा है तो constant नहीं है ना? erg के लिए भी 4.2 into 10 raised to 7 आ सकता है erg per calorie. तो वैसा भी आ सकता है. तो it's not a constant. It's not a physical quantity. It's just the best way to define it. It's a conversion factor. It's a conversion factor. ठीक है? Again, कोई पूछ रहा है कि इतना obvious है तो why define a term for it? Honestly, even I don't know. But again, what seems very obvious to us now may have been major breakthroughs some centuries earlier to people discovering this for the first time. People must have seen, अरे J is some magic number कि H in calories है ना, हीट कैलोरी में मेजर कर रहे हैं, वर्क को जूल्स में मेजर कर रहे हैं. दे आर लाइक अरे दिस इज सम मैजिक नंबर. इतना कैलोरीज ऑफ हीट दे दिया तो 4.2 टाइम्स जूल्स ऑफ वर्क निकलेगा. So they must have thought they have discovered something very profound, and based on that they define this concept and they define this equation. Maybe that must be the background story behind it. फिर बाद में देखा रहे हीट को जूल्स में मेजर करेंगे, वर्क को भी जूल्स में मेजर करेंगे, तो फिर 4.2 मल्टीप्लाई का जरूरत नहीं है. फिर तो एज इट इज दोनों साइड बराबर है, तो इन दैट केस J is 1. So in that sense, yeah, it is in a way something profound. That discovery is something profound, and heat as such is exploited to get mechanical work done in engines and all that. Okay. हाँ, सही बात है. कुछ लोग बोल रहे we should not belittle these profound discoveries just because we find it obvious. And everything is obvious once it's nicely derived and explained in simple terms. But of course, the original guys discovering this, for them, this was something profound. Okay? You'll be surprised to see कि mechanical equivalent of heat for some reason एक्सप्लिसिटली सिलेबस में लिखा है, जबकि उस पे इतना ही इंफॉर्मेशन है. There's not a lot more to it, but JEE expects you to know what this concept is. हाँ, of course यार, of course इसका आंसर 12 लिख नहीं रहा हूँ, of course you know कि that becomes 12.6 joules. So in that sense, it behaves as a conversion factor. इसमें सवाल तो न्यूमेरिकल एस्पेक्ट से नहीं आ सकता है, बिकॉज तुम ऑफ कोर्स डायरेक्टली कन्वर्ट करोगे विदाउट थिंकिंग अबाउट दिस टर्म, यू विल कन्वर्ट, जैसे हमने पिछले पेज में ही किया. बट इस पे सवाल ऐसा आ सकता है, जैसे कंसेप्चुअल, just to make sure whether you know कि it's not a constant, whether you know that it's not a physical quantity. कोई पूछ रहा है erg, जैसे अब erg के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में क्या हो जाएगा, मान लो हीट तुमने मान लो हीट तुम कैलोरीज में मेजर करोगे और वर्क तुम erg में मेजर करोगे, तो फिर j का वैल्यू क्या हो जाएगा, है ना? तो बस 10⁻⁷ से मल्टीप्लाई कर लो. ठीक, I don't know, मतलब न्यूमेरिकल, हाँ, yes you're right, 4.2 into 10⁻⁷ erg per calorie, 4.2 into 10⁻⁷ erg per calorie, वो आ जाएगा. Any doubt in this page? As such they can't club it with a numerical. यहाँ पे just एक conceptual idea है, explicitly syllabus में है, तो you should just make sure you know what this thing is. Don't forget the equation. कभी ऐसा have you even seen questions, W is JH या J is W is JH या H is JW, and people get that wrong because people don't revise this. Why people don't revise this? क्यों? जरूरत ही नहीं है कोई भी सवाल में, तो कोई रिवाइज करता ही नहीं. यूनिट कन्वर्जन सबको आता है ना? तो थोड़ा सा इसको इज्जत देके मेक श्योर यू रिवाइज व्हाट दिस टर्म इज, मेक श्योर यू नो J lies on which side. Does it lie on the work side? Does it lie on the heat side? ठीक है, cool. All right, now we look at the principle of, done with this page, right? मैंने पूछा done with this page ना, whoever asked me to go here. Okay, so next principle that we have, just a sec. Okay, H, yes, H represented heat, J represented, sorry, W represented work. कोई पूछ रहा है, is there any term such as thermodynamical equivalent of work? I can see what you're trying to do there, but that doesn't seem to be a term I'm aware of. I don't think. एक ही बात है वो, फिर जैसे तू जिस तरह डिफाइन कर रहा है वो 1/j हो जाएगा, बट नहीं. ठीक है, मैकेनिकल इक्विवेलेंट ऑफ, उतना दिमाग था उनको मैकेनिकल इक्विवेलेंट ऑफ हीट, जो भी डिस्कवरी कर रहा था, है ना, मैकेनिकल इक्विवेलेंट ऑफ हीट को एक नाम दे दिया, तो उसका रेसिप्रोकल को एक नया नाम नहीं देंगे. ऑफ कोर्स उतना दिमाग ऑफ कोर्स उससे काफी ज्यादा भी था. ऑल राइट, थर्मोमीटर मैंने हीट को Q से रिप्रेजेंट किया. अरे क्या कुछ भी चलता है यार, Q से भी रिप्रेजेंट कर सकते हो उसको. अब ये इक्वेशन जैसे लोग टिपिकली लिखते हैं, टेक्स्ट बुक्स जैसे लिखते हैं, वैसा मैंने लिखा है, W is JH. some reason people don't write W is JQ. ठीक है, सो जैसे वो लोग लिखते हैं वैसे ही मैंने लिखा है. Of course, most likely from this point forward, you may see me write heat in terms of, I mean, you may see me use the symbol Q for heat. Okay? But in that context, H represented heat. पिछले equation में H represented heat. Cool? एक ही अरे कितना कंफ्यूजन हो जाएगा लाइफ में, मतलब वो सवाल. अब सी एग्जाम में सवाल ऐसा आएगा H के टर्म्स में, ठीक है, दिस ओरिजिनल इक्वेशन इज रिटन एज W is JH. तो ऑप्शन ऐसा दिखेगा तो ऐसे ही याद कर लो. आई डोंट थिंक दिस इज रियली कॉम्प्लेक्स. एच है क्यू है एक ही बात है. ऑलराइट, लेट्स मूव ऑन नाउ. प्रिंसिपल ऑफ कैलोरीमेट्री. Guys, let me tell you one thing. Symbols का कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. You're going to find multiple textbooks use multiple symbols, especially आगे जो हम अभी आज भी जो सीखेंगे. Please understand, symbols is not the main thing. ठीक है? You may find textbooks use some other symbol. You may find your exam also use some other symbol altogether. The whole point is the question will be very clear what that quantity is, or the units will clearly imply what that quantity is. ठीक है? So no question is if J is this, H is what. ऐसा ऐसा सवाल नहीं आता है. They'd write in proper English what each quantity is. So please don't be very rigid on the symbols. Especially आज अभी आगे जो देखेंगे heat capacity के कुछ terms देखेंगे. There are many alternate symbols for the same thing. So we are just going to pick any symbol for our convenience. Okay? Ultimately, it's understanding what the term is, that is what is going to be enough, and that is going to be what matters. Okay? All right, principle of calorimetry. If there is, this is the principle, if there is no heat exchanged with the surroundings, if there is no heat exchanged with the surroundings, then the basic logical idea is heat lost by the hot objects, heat lost by the hot objects is equal to heat gained by the cold objects. Or another way of talking about the same thing, heat lost by the hot objects is heat gained by the cold objects. Any doubt ki this should not be true? Quite logical. Heat lost by the hot objects is heat gained by the cold objects. Energy has to be conserved. कोई heat lose कर रहा है तो किसी और को heat मिलना ही चाहिए. ठीक है? Heat lost by the hot objects is heat gained by the cold objects. Another way of saying this is you can say total heat lost. The way I like to think of it is total heat lost by all objects is zero. Total heat lost by all objects is zero, because heat lost by objects actually losing heat will be positive, and heat lost by objects actually gaining heat will be negative. तो जो heat ले रहा है उसका heat lost negative होगा, जो heat दे रहा है उसके लिए heat lost positive होगा. Okay? So you can say total heat lost by all objects is zero, because if somebody is losing heat, somebody should be gaining heat. Another way of saying the same thing is total heat gained by all objects is zero. This is not an ideal condition. This is always true. This is exactly true. If you have a system which is not giving heat to the surroundings, heat है ही ऐसा कि कोई lose करेगा और कोई pick up करेगा. कोई lose करेगा, कोई pick up करेगा. ठीक है? It should not exchange heat with the surroundings. If it won't exchange heat with the surroundings, heat lost by A is heat gained by B. Irrespective of the situation, heat lost by A is heat gained by B. Aditya, that's true, but that's not relevant to this specific chapter. Heat lost by A is heat gained by B. Okay? Heat is not defined for a body. So when heat by definition ही वही चीज है कि A ने 30 joules of non-mechanical energy ट्रांसफर किया B के तरफ, तो वही हीट ट्रांसफर्ड 30 जूल हो गया. यानी कि ए ने जितना लूज किया उतना बी ने गेन किया. बोथ दोज टर्म्स आर डिफाइंड एज हीट ट्रांसफर्ड फ्रॉम ए टू बी. गॉट इट? वो अब बी लेके उसके साथ क्या करेगा वो अलग बात है. बी हीट लेके उसका टेम्परेचर बढ़ सकता है या बी हीट लेके कुछ वर्क कर सकता है. एंड दैट कम्स अंडर थर्मोडायनेमिक्स. How B responds to that gain in temperature comes under thermodynamics. Does its temperature increase? Does it do work? Or does it do a mixture of both? How it responds to the gain in heat comes under thermodynamics. But for law of conservation of energy to be valid, heat lost by one is heat gained by the other. Cool? That's the idea. Okay. Now, based on this idea, we're of course going to, the entire chapter is actually based on this idea. But for us to proceed further, we'll need to define certain terms. Okay? And these are the terms we're going to define. Now, ये term का तुम्हें proper English definition है ना to vomit out in your board exams उसका जरूरत नहीं है. You just need to see what the formula is to understand what these terms are. So the first term we're going to look at is specific heat capacity. Specific heat capacity. Let me say beforehand. Now let me say beforehand कि again you will see different symbols used in different books. पहले ही बता रहा हूँ, कोई भी book पढ़ो same चीज के लिए अलग अलग symbol use होगा. So I'm just going to stick to a set of symbols and you can just follow that. Ultimately the idea is what matters. So specific heat capacity के लिए let's use capital S. Specific heat capacity के लिए let's use capital S. ठीक है? Some use small s. अब small s capital S में ज्यादा फर्क नहीं दिखेगा, तो I'm just going to stick to S for specific heat capacity. And the definition is this: is the heat gained by a body divided by its mass divided by the increase in temperature. तो ये हो गया definition for specific heat capacity. क्या हो गया? Heat gained divided by mass divided by change in temperature. Heat gained by mass divided by change in temperature. ठीक है? Some textbooks will use C, some textbooks will use C for something else. हर जगह अलग अलग होगा. For the last time, the symbols don't matter. ठीक है? The idea matters. Nobody else is going to be heat by mass upon delta T. That definition is what is going to matter. The definition is what is going to matter. The terms we are going to define today are going to have very distinct units. In any exam, they will never tell you S is equal to this. Figure out what S means. Never. They'll always frame the question in a proper way. They'll say specific heat capacity of this body is this. Specific heat capacity of that body is that. So they'll always specify. In this equation, okay, so in this equation, Q stands for heat. Okay. I would suggest you stick to the symbols I've used because we're going to use C for molar heat capacity. So use S. Okay. So Q stands for heat gained. Delta T stands for temperature rise. And M stands for mass. Okay. So that's your specific heat capacity. कोई पूछ रहा है अगर हीट लॉस हुआ तो नेचुरली हीट अगर लॉस हुआ Q नेगेटिव आएगा, डेल्टा T भी नेगेटिव होगा because if you're losing heat, your temperature is going to decrease. Change in temperature is going to be negative. So if you lose heat, Q will be negative, delta T will be negative, but S will be positive. Okay? S will be positive. Got the idea? This is the relation that you have when S is a constant. This is the relation you have when S is constant. ठीक है? Now, अगर S constant नहीं है, जैसा एकदम टेक्निकली देखो तो परफेक्ट कांस्टेंट नहीं होता है, इसलिए हमने पानी के केस में है ना, इसलिए हमने पानी के केस में हमें वो स्पेसिफिकली बताना पड़ा कि तुम टेम्परेचर चेंज देखो 14.5 से 15.5, इंप्लाइंग की अलग अलग राइज इन टेम्परेचर अलग अलग पीरियड के वक्त S has slightly different values. It takes maybe different amount of heat to go from 1 to 2, different amount of heat to go from 10 to 11, different amount of heat to go from 14.5 to 15.5. So it's not perfectly a constant. When it is not perfectly a constant, this is a little rare, but what is the idea? So when S is not constant, you will have to integrate. Simple सी बात है. So when S is not constant, you will slightly modify the definition. S is Qm by delta T. उसको तुम क्या कर लो? You will say कि in that case S is 1 upon m, the small amount of heat transferred corresponding to a small rise in temperature. तो तब लिखोगे S is 1 by m dt. समझ में आया? तुम ये सेम इक्वेशन फिर कब लगाओगे? अगर S चेंज हो रहा है तो तुम यही सेम इक्वेशन के लिए इतना छोटा सा टेम्परेचर इंटरवल के लिए लगाओगे कि उस छोटे से टेम्परेचर इंटरवल में S ऑब्वियसली ज्यादा चेंज नहीं होगा. एंड अगर S ज्यादा चेंज नहीं हो रहा है फिर तुम ये इक्वेशन यूज कर सकते हो. तो कैसा वो इक्वेशन दिखेगा? S is 1 by m, small amount of heat transferred upon the small change in temperature. See? So this equation works when S is constant with respect to temperature. Typically, if you find key when S is not constant with respect to temperature, then you will have to integrate this function. So you will say कि एक छोटा सा temperature interval ले लो, उसमें तो S constant होगा, तो उसमें हम ये definition use कर सकते हैं. एंड ये डेफिनेशन यूज करके ऐसा रिश्ता आएगा कि S is 1 by m small change in Q upon small change in temperature. अब ऐसे सिचुएशन में what is the next line going to look like? dq, separate the variables, dq is ms dt, and now if you want Q, total heat transferred, you just need to add all the small amounts of heat that is transferred as you go from some initial temperature to some final temperature. Got it? कोई पूछ रहा है हाउ कैन S नॉट बी कांस्टेंट? सवाल जो बना रहा है उसका मर्जी हो सकता है, वो बोल सकता है देयर इज अ मटेरियल जिसके लिए S वेरीज विद टेम्परेचर अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस फंक्शन. तुम्हें जो सवाल बोल रहा है वो यूज करना पड़ेगा. If the question paper tells you कि S is varying with temperature, you cannot sit arguing with the question paper. See? That's the idea. And in practical terms, it does. In a slight manner, it does vary with temperature. इसलिए तो हमने यहाँ पे बोला कि अगर water का constant S होता, then water would take the same amount of heat irrespective of temperature किस point से किस point तक जा रहा है. For every 1 degree Celsius, water would have shown the same, taken in the same amount of heat. But यहाँ पे इतना specific value क्यों उठाया? Because apparently water is not taking the same amount of heat for every degree Celsius rise in temperature. Therefore, the specific definition, which also implies that S is not perfectly constant. It is more or less constant. It's not perfectly constant. You don't need to worry about that. Most questions you will always take it as a constant. Only जब वो सवाल बनाने वाला ऐसे ही उसको थोड़ा मस्ती आ रहा है, वो दे देगा कि S is some function of temperature. In those cases, you will have to apply integration. Understood? What is the unit of S? यूनिट मैटर करता है. तुम सिंबल जो चाहे लिख लो, मेरा एडवाइस है S लिख लो, बट एट द एंड द यूनिट्स कैन नॉट बी रॉन्ग. तो यूनिट क्या है? लुक एट दैट डेफिनेशन, बहुत सिंपल है यार. जूल्स, वेरी नाइस, पर केजी पर सेकेंड. तो जूल्स per kg सेकंड क्यों बोल दिया, आई एम सो सॉरी, डेल्टा टी इज नॉट टाइम, तेरा भी पढ़ के मैंने वही बोला, जूल्स पर केजी पर केल्विन, जूल्स पर केजी पर केल्विन, जूल्स पर केजी पर केल्विन, ठीक है। और you can also see joules per kg per degree Celsius, and when you see that, don't get frantic, don't think अरे इसमें क्या कैसे कन्वर्ट करना है, 273 जोड़ना है नहीं जोड़ना है, don't get frantic. Why? Because this is delta T, and if you remember, delta T for Kelvin and Celsius is one and the same. Delta T for Kelvin and Celsius is one and the same. समझ में है ना क्या बोला मैंने? joules per kg Kelvin, joules per kg Celsius are exactly the same. Yeah, don't इसमें 273 मत घुसाओ, because delta T for Kelvin and Celsius is the same. We discussed that in the previous class. डेल्टा टी पानी का टेम्परेचर 1 डिग्री सेल्सियस से 2 डिग्री सेल्सियस जाता है, केल्विन में 273 केल्विन से लेकर 274 से लेकर 275 तक जाता है. तो राइज इन टेम्परेचर इन बोथ स्केल्स इज द सेम. Absolute value is different, but rise in temperature is the same. Okay, so change in Celsius and change in Kelvin are one and the same. Okay. You can have other units, of course, as well, but these are your SI units. Cool. So that's for specific heat capacity. The next one we're going to see is heat capacity. I think I'll just write out rather than typing. So the next one is heat capacity. Normally textbooks use small s and capital S. I'm gonna, so that it's nicely distinguishable, because ultimately the units doesn't matter, I'm gonna use S dash just to distinguish it from specific heat capacity. I'll use S dash. अब S dash, अब heat capacity का definition देख लो कैसा है. Q is S dash delta T. So something has disappeared. Seems like mass has disappeared, है ना? Seems like mass has disappeared, implying कि S dash is Q divided by delta T. Sairam ulta. In fact, let me address that in a bit. S dash is Q divided by delta T. In other words, S dash is mass into S. Okay? Q, because previous equation ये था ना, Q is ms delta T. तो ms के जगह क्या आ गया? ms के जगह ये आ गया कि अब ms की जगह S dash आ गया. One of you was, in fact, two of you were asking, ये देख के S dash is independent of mass. नहीं ना, you need to think. There are two equations over there. In एक equation में mass दिख रहा है, एक equation में mass नहीं दिख रहा है. In reality, it's not S dash which is independent of mass. Specific heat capacity is independent of mass. उसका एक specific value होता है अलग अलग substance के लिए. देखेंगे कुछ देर में कि पानी का 4.2 joules per kg Kelvin होता है, तो that has a specific value. Heat capacity is mass into specific heat capacity. Heat capacity is mass into specific heat capacity. So that depends on mass. जितना mass लोगे उतना ज्यादा heat capacity होगा. This is a constant for a material. S is a constant. Approximately a constant. ठीक है? So S is a constant for a material. Whereas this other one is not. Heat capacity is not a constant for a material. It depends on the mass taken. This thing depends on, of course, the material, but also depends on the mass. Depends on the mass taken. Okay. Got it? And कोई पूछ रहा है, is Q always positive? नहीं, Q नेगेटिव हो सकता है. कब नेगेटिव होगा? जैसे बताया पिछले पेज में भी, अगर हीट लॉस हो रहा है तो Q नेगेटिव होगा, डेल्टा T भी नेगेटिव होगा, बिकॉज टेम्परेचर विल डिक्रीज, बट नेगेटिव बाय नेगेटिव दोबारा पॉजिटिव होगा. S dash also has to be positive because S and M are positive. Got it? And more than the symbol, what is going to be fundamentally different is the unit. What is the unit? And by units, I mean, let's just stick to the SI units. Okay, if we are listing every possible unit, that can take all day. What are the SI units? Very nice. Joules per Kelvin or joules per degree Celsius. Both are exactly the same. Delta T in Kelvin and Celsius are one and the same. See? Now, same idea if S is not constant. If S dash is not constant, or if S dash varies with T, ये just as an extra mention कर रहा हूँ, उतना common नहीं है ऐसा question, but if S dash varies with temperature, then your equation becomes S dash becomes dq by dt. So if S dash varies with temperature, then you have to take it for a very small interval. So छोटा सा temperature interval के लिए, this is the small amount of heat that is exchanged, and what is going to come as a consequence of this equation? You'll get Q is integral dq. Total heat supplied is integral dq, which will be integral S dash into dt. Got the idea? Yeah, very similar to what we discussed on the previous page. T initial से T final. Cool. I'm assuming तुम्हें पहले से पता था heat capacity. Okay. What is written after Q? I'm wondering where there are many Q's written. If you're talking about this, so after Q I've written Q is integral dq. And a total heat supplied would be the addition of all the heat supplied during every small temperature change, and dq is S dash dt. So total heat supplied would be S dash integration of S dash dt as T goes from some initial value to some final value. Got it? See? ऐसा एक और टर्म होता है मोलार हीट कैपेसिटी. Yes, Soravi. प्रीवियस पेज देखना, देख लो जल्दी से. So again, this term is again a constant. It doesn't depend on moles as such, but its definition does involve the use of moles. So molar heat capacity के लिए, let's use the symbol C. Again, I'm sure you have already started to see this in thermodynamics. There, while working with gases, you have C defined for different processes the gas is taken through. Yeah, but of course, for liquids and solids, you expect this more or less to be a constant. Molar heat capacity का symbol हो जाएगा Q is NC delta T. तो ये definition देख के तुम्हें समझ में आना चाहिए कि C is Q by N delta T. So it is again where N is what? N is number of moles. N is number of moles. So it's similar to specific heat capacity. The only difference was the specific heat capacity was per kilogram divided by mass per kilogram. molar heat capacity is divided by number of moles. So this is per mole, and therefore the unit will be what? The SI units for this will be joules per mole per Kelvin. Okay? Needless to say, still worth the repetition, joules per mole per degree Celsius. That's the SI unit for molar heat capacity. सिंपल है, एक बार डेफिनेशन देखिए. स्पेसिफिक मींस पर मास, मोलार मींस पर मोल, और सिर्फ हीट कैपेसिटी मींस बस हीट अपॉन टेम्परेचर. ठीक है. सो हीट कैपेसिटी, I'll go back to that page, but I hope you can see heat capacity can also be written as, help me complete this, based on the definition we just saw. We said it's mass into specific heat capacity. We can also say it is number of moles into molar heat capacity, because अगले पेज पे यही तो रिजल्ट देखा, heat transferred is NC delta T, है ना. So NC के जगह क्या आ रहा है? S dash आ रहा है. ठीक. So heat capacity can also be said to be number of moles into molar heat capacity. Okay. Molar heat capacity क्या है? Heat divided by number of moles divided by delta T. And story repeats. इस बार और short लिख लेता हूँ. If C varies with temperature, then what you'll have to do is you'll have to add all the small changes in temperature. In other words, you'll have to क्या करेंगे? हाँ, इंटीग्रेट NC डेल्टा T. वेरी करा तो इंटीग्रेट करो. NC डेल्टा T के जगह NC dt को इंटीग्रेट करो इनिशियल टेम्परेचर से लेकर फाइनल टेम्परेचर तक. गॉट द आइडिया? स्लाइड नंबर 4 देख लो. ओके. कोई पूछ रहा है इस इक्वेशन में नंबर ऑफ मोल्स, अगर ऐसा सवाल आ रहा है, इस इक्वेशन में नंबर ऑफ मोल्स शुड बी अ कांस्टेंट. एब्सोल्युटली. So when you're observing heat absorbed by a substance, you'll observe that substance as a closed substance, one जिसका mass या number of moles कम नहीं होता है. Your system will be a closed system. So if you're observing heat gained by a system, we are not going to keep removing moles from that system. That system is going to have a fixed number of moles or fixed mass. So yes, N is going to be a constant in that. It's only C which could change the temperature. ठीक है. ठीक है. Next is latent heat. Latent heat for a phase change. Latent heat for a phase change. Yeah, so you have probably heard of terms in school as latent heat of vaporization or latent heat of melting or fusion, है ना? So slide 5, जल्दी से देख लो slide 5. So you have heard those terms in school. So in general, latent heat का definition यूनिवर्सल है, irrespective of the phase change, the way it is defined is universal. तो एक general definition लिख लेते हैं, latent heat for any phase change. Very nice. Yes, Ayush. Latent heat for any phase change is defined as heat supplied या heat transferred upon mass of that substance. So latent heat का symbol रखेंगे L, and the governing equation, which is like the definition itself, is Q is equal to ml. Q is equal to ml. ठीक है? In other words, L is equal to Q divided by m. L is equal to Q divided by m. So latent heat is heat taken for a phase change divided by mass. And yes, the units of heat are not going to have temperature, okay? Because there is no change in temperature. The units of heat are either simply going to be joules per kilogram. That's going to be the SI unit of latent heat of phase change. ठीक है? Needless to say, जहाँ पे भी joules मैंने बताया, calorie भी हो सकता था. An alternate unit for all these terms could have also been calories के terms में. Okay? The latent heat for a phase change, SI unit will be joules per kilogram. ठीक है? One thing to remember is phase change always occurs at a fixed temperature. Phase change occurs at a fixed temperature. So, can you tell me then in that case, if there is no change in temperature, why do we need to supply heat? Very nice, Yash. Why is it taken up? Why is it taken up during? I'm repeating the question. Question is, why do we need to supply heat if temperature is not going to change? If kinetic energy of molecules is not going to change, why do we need to supply heat? To break intermolecular bonds, fair enough. To excite the atom का मतलब, I don't know what you mean by that, but please understand, kinetic energy change नहीं हो रहा है. So it's not कि your molecule or atom is going to vibrate more strongly. ठीक है? All those who are saying कि bonds need to break, yeah, potential energy is going to increase, that is the correct answer. That is in a way the correct answer. So whatever bonds may exist in the solid state, to break that you would need heat. In other words, to increase potential energy you would need heat. Yeah, so let me write about that. So when I'll just write whatever I mentioned. Okay, so when heat is given during a phase change, in the internal energy so when you're giving heat, some energy should increase. So when heat is given to a substance during a phase change, we'll say that the internal energy of the substance increases. So when heat is given to a substance during a phase change, the internal energy of the substance increases. The internal energy of the substance increases. But the average kinetic energy does not. The average kinetic energy does not. So your internal energy of the molecules I mean, in other words, internal energy of the substance means the energy of the molecules, total mechanical energy. That is increasing. But what is not increasing is the kinetic energy. The kinetic energy does not change. Why does it not change? Because your temperature is constant. Temperature was a measure of the kinetic energy of substances. So temperature is constant, which is why the kinetic energy does not change. So what is really happening is some heat goes in breaking the bond. Some heat goes in breaking some heat goes in breaking the bonds between the molecules. Some heat goes in breaking the bonds between the molecules. My goodness. Okay. And then again, now ye to universal, this is true for everything. Sometimes some substances experience expansion as well. So then again, for substances that expand, substances that expand on either melting slash vaporization. The substances that expand on melting slash vaporization, heat also goes in separating the molecules against the attractive forces and thereby increases the potential energy of the molecules. Okay? Let me just check what I've written. When heat is given to a substance during a phase change, the internal energy of the substance increases. Substances expand on heating, heat also. Yeah. I think it's about time this app learns that I want to type heat and not heart. All right. What is going on over here? So heat, दो चीज, एक तो the main predominant reason is what all of you answered. When you give heat to a substance, during this phase change, during melting and vaporization, when you give heat to a substance, you're going to end up breaking the bonds between molecules. So for instance, in the case of a solid atom, you're going to end up breaking those bonds that are developed in its lattice structure. Liquids के case में you could have different kinds of bonds. जैसे पानी के case में you'll have these strong hydrogen bonds that will be formed. वो सब तोड़ने में heat goes. ठीक है? And once you're not ionizing the substance, of course not. You're not removing an electron from the substance. You're not removing an electron from the molecule. You are separating molecules. You're breaking bonds between molecules. Okay, so whatever in the solid state, whatever crystal structure it would have had, you're breaking the bonds in that crystal structure. In the liquid state, again, whatever bonds those liquid molecules may have with each other, whatever forces of attraction they may have, whatever bonds they may have, you're breaking those kind of bonds. Okay? And therefore, the substance requires heat during these processes. Another place where heat goes for most substances is most substances expand on melting. Now, this is not true for water. Water chhod ke, be mindful of that. Pani chhod ke, water contracts on melting. Ice contracts on melting. But all other substances typically expand on melting, and heat therefore also goes. Yes, Ayush, yes. and heat also goes in separating those molecules against the attractive forces and thereby increases the potential energy of the molecule. Now I hope that makes sense to you. है ना, potential energy का definition पता है ना, it's negative of work done by the internal conservative forces, है ना. So if you have two molecules which are strongly attracting each other and you end up, कैसे देखो, नहीं, delta K is not minus delta U, that's not the equation over here. Delta K is in fact 0. If you have two molecules which are strongly attracting each other, these are your internal conservative forces which exist between these molecules. So now if these molecules are attracting each other and you separate these molecules, okay, you separate them, what is going to happen? What is the nature of the work that is going to be done by these internal conservative forces? Internal, of course, matters. Potential energy is only defined for internal forces. What is going to be the nature of the work done by these internal conservative forces? Is it going to be positive? Is it going to be negative? Look at the direction of the force and look at the separation caused. Work done by the internal conservative forces is going to be negative. Now, because that is going to be negative, your delta U, which is defined as, delta U का definition क्या है? Potential energy corresponding to some conservative force is defined as negative of the work done by that internal conservative force. Delta U is therefore going to be positive. तो वो हो रहा है. Okay? तो potential energy increases and also bonds are broken when heat is given to a substance. What does not change? There should be no doubt in this. Kinetic energy does not change. 0 degrees Celsius water, 0 degrees Celsius ice, both their molecules are vibrating with the same kinetic energy. It's just the distance between those molecules may have changed. The structure or the relationship between the molecules, the bonds between the molecules, uska nature may have changed. The structure may have changed. Got it? Clear? बहुत important point है, इस पे theoretical question आएगा. Be very clear about that. Okay? Internal energy बढ़ता है, heat दे रहे हो, but kinetic energy नहीं बढ़ता है, नहीं change होता है. Clear? What have I written after W? तो ये तुम्हें पता है ना, work done by I hope work energy is done. So I hope you know कि the definition of potential energy or change in potential energy is कि it is the negative of the work done by internal conservative forces. I for internal, C for conservative. Change in potential energy is defined as a negative of the work done by internal conservative forces. Okay? So if you have these molecules which are attracting each other and they are at some equilibrium distance, but now you apply heat and you cause these molecules to separate. As they separate, these internal conservative forces are obviously going to do negative work on the system. Why? Because the force is opposite the displacement. So as the internal conservative forces do negative work, your potential energy increases. The potential energy increases. It's just like saying when you raise an object on the surface of the earth, you raise it up. So what is happening? What is the internal conservative force? Gravity. Gravity is attracting, pulling the object down and pulling the earth up. As you take the object up, what is going to happen? Gravity तो earth पे ज्यादा कुछ कर नहीं रहा है क्योंकि earth के frame में earth rest पे है, ठीक है? But object ऊपर उठ रहा है तो gravity object पे negative work कर रहा है ना? Gravity object पे negative work करता है, -mgh के बराबर work करता है. and उसका नेगेटिव यानी कि पॉजिटिव mgh is change in potential energy. Force is downwards, but if you take the object up, gravity, the internal conservative force, the work done by that internal conservative force on this combined system is negative, is minus mgh, and change in potential energy is the negative of that, therefore it's positive mgh. So that's the idea. Got it? Any doubt on this page? Okay, heavy हो गया क्या? But please, yeah, guys, if you have not understood that, please, I would say, please, HCV एक बार देख लो, work power energy का, that definition of potential energy is really fundamental. Make sure you have understood that. ठीक है? Change in potential energy, reference line सब छोड़ो, change in potential energy. एक बार वो potential energy वाला section एक बार HCV से पढ़ लो. Change in potential energy का क्या definition है? आज के लिए इतना. लास्ट में जो एग्जाम्पल लिखा था वो थोड़ा नहीं समझा. लास्ट में जो एग्जाम्पल लिखा था पोटेंशियल एनर्जी का, अच्छा समझ लो एक बार अच्छे से. जैसे ये है डेफिनेशन, डेल्टा यू इज नेगेटिव ऑफ वर्क डन बाय एन इंटरनल कंजर्वेटिव फोर्स. सो व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट डेल्टा यू, योर सिस्टम हैज टू बी द अर्थ एंड द ऑब्जेक्ट. नाउ यू मे नॉट बी अवेयर ऑफ, you may not always have been fully conscious of the fact that you're taking the earth in your system, but to be very technical, when we apply potential energy ka formulas, the earth as well as the object is a system. ऐसे केस में हम क्या बोलते हैं कि हम बोलते हैं कि अपना जो इंटरनल कंजर्वेटिव फोर्स है फिर वो ग्रेविटी हो जाता है. सो चेंज इन ग्रेविटेशनल पोटेंशियल एनर्जी इज नेगेटिव ऑफ वर्क डन बाय ग्रेविटी. अब ग्रेविटी दो चीज पे वर्क कर सकता है, एक तो ब्लॉक पे कर सकता है और दूसरा अर्थ पे कर सकता है. बट वी आर इन हुज रेफरेंस फ्रेम? वी आर इन द अर्थ फ्रेम. तो बिकॉज वी आर इन द अर्थ फ्रेम, बिकॉज वी स्टैंडिंग ऑन द अर्थ, we will not see any displacement for the earth, and therefore this term is going to be zero because you are in the earth's reference frame. earth के हिसाब से earth का displacement नहीं है तो earth पे कुछ work नहीं हो रहा है. ये ऑब्जेक्ट को तुम ऊपर उठा दो, कितने से ऊपर उठा दिया? मान लो h से ऊपर उठा दिया, तो ये तुम्हें पता है कि mg नीचे है, mg नीचे है, ठीक. and work done by gravity on the block is mg, sorry, work done by gravity on the block is negative of mgh cube because mg नीचे है and displacement ऊपर की तरफ है. So work done by gravity on the block is minus mgh, and therefore change in potential energy when you raise an object by height h is mgh. Change in potential energy is mgh. Irrespective of what you take as your reference line, change universal hota hai. Change is always going to be, in this case, when you raise it by height h is mgh. And koi pooch raha hai work done by earth on the block, please understand when I'm saying work done by gravity on the block, I'm implying work done by the earth because earth is doing work through gravity. एक ही बात है. Yes, those who want to leave can leave. हाँ, तो ब्लॉक पे भी तो बोल रहा, ब्लॉक पे भी अर्थ का वर्क होगा, वो ही वर्क ग्रेविटी का वर्क है. इसको तुम ऐसे भी लिख सकते थे, वर्क डन बाय अर्थ ऑन ब्लॉक, एंड ये इसको लिख सकते हैं वर्क डन बाय ब्लॉक ऑन अर्थ, बिकॉज अर्थ इज डूइंग वर्क ऑन द ब्लॉक थ्रू ग्रेविटी. वो उनका आपस के बीच में फोर्स है. ब्लॉक अर्थ पे ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स लगा रहा है, अर्थ ब्लॉक पे ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स लगा रहा है. कूल, ठीक है. नेक्स्ट होमवर्क दे देता हूँ थर्मोमेट्री के लिए, एंड ऑफ कोर्स कैलोरीमेट्री नेक्स्ट क्लास में हो जाएगा. नेक्स्ट क्लास में क्वेश्चंस करेंगे कैलोरीमेट्री से. दिस वाज द आइडिया फॉर नाउ. लास्ट क्या, लास्ट पेज किसका बताना था इसका? Sorry. Yes, Ayush, पूछ ले, मतलब I'll try to answer. देखते हैं. Yeah. I'm uploading the notes now itself. Yeah, what will be the what will happen if law of conservation is not valid? यार क्या बताओ यार, मतलब if yes, Harsh, I know him, I studied with him. If law of conservation is not valid, I mean we could cheat, we could create energy. That is of course what we would be concerned with. We could create energy out of nothing. यहाँ पे तो प्रॉब्लम होता है ना, वी स्ट्रगल टू कन्वर्ट एनर्जी फ्रॉम वन फॉर्म टू अनदर. व्हीकल का मैकेनिकल एनर्जी आता है पेट्रोल के फ्यूल से, अपना इलेक्ट्रिसिटी आता है कोल के थर्मल एनर्जी से. एवरी सिंगल पार्टिकल annihilate itself. Why? वो क्यों होगा? एक मिनट.
So basically, because energy exchange forms the basis of the creation of universe. If there is no energy exchange, or if the energy is not contained, then structures will collapse. Because in some kinds, equilibrium is required in some cases.
नहीं, I'm just saying you're talking about energy conservation का law not being valid. So what if energy can just be created randomly?
So create तो तभी कर पाएंगे जब हम लोग रहेंगे.
क्यों?
So अगर energy conserve नहीं होगी,
हाँ तो फिर
सर हर ऑब्जेक्ट जो इस यूनिवर्स में एग्जिस्ट करता है वो कॉन्स्टेंटली किसी फॉर्म में एनर्जी लूज करता रहेगा.
तो you're assuming कि energy is constantly lost.
लॉस्ट और गेन्ड, सर बट बैलेंस नहीं रहेगा ना. क्या अगर लॉस ज्यादा होगा गेन से ज्यादा तो फिर it will result in a
लॉस ज्यादा है तो if अगर लॉस ज्यादा है then everything will eventually cool down. अगर लॉस ज्यादा है, अगर लूज होते जा रहा है तो everything will eventually cool down to technically almost zero Kelvin. बिकॉज सारा मॉलिक्यूल का पूरा काइनेटिक एनर्जी निकलेगा if it's getting lost continuously, है ना?
yes sir.
So right now in an isolated system क्या होता है, nobody reaches zero Kelvin because even when they radiate heat and lose energy, the surrounding picks that up, they radiate energy back, and therefore people are at a normal temperature. On the other hand, if you're left in vacuum, you're going to just constantly radiate your heat energy and your you will freeze, your energy will keep decreasing, your temperature will keep decreasing.
I think the exact consequences will depend upon the exact way the situation varies. And because if total energy will be diminished over time, then as you said, the system will eventually grind itself to a halt.
हाँ, molecular level पे your temperature will try to reach 0 Kelvin.
So the total energy can also increase over time, isn't it?
नहीं, तो again we're talking about hypothetical situations ना. तो total energy बढ़ रहा है, मतलब energy as we know it is either in the form of kinetic energy or it's in the form of potential energy between molecules, or it's in the form of temperature, which again is a measure of kinetic energy. So the energy of a body without changing its speed, if the energy of a body has to increase, we typically expect that body to be increasing in temperature.
Yes, sir. So it can either result in a collapse or an expansion. We are not so sure of the situation, right?
हाँ नहीं, I mean, I wouldn't say क्यों expand होगा, क्यों collapse होगा. तो body को indefinite heat देते जा क्यों expand होगा, but why would it expand beyond measure? Or why would, if you keep withdrawing heat from a body, why would it collapse beyond measure? It will collapse. Its length changes proportional to temperature. उसके हिसाब से वो उसका temperature कम होगा. कोई पूछ रहा है, if you are in vacuum then we'll freeze. Yeah, because when you're in vacuum you're gonna, so we are constantly radiating heat. ये heat transfer में seeking way, we are constantly radiating heat. All objects by virtue of the temperature radiate heat to the surroundings. So if you are in vacuum, you'll be radiating heat and nobody will be throwing heat back on you. Yeah, there are no surrounding molecules to take up that heat and radiate heat back at you. So therefore you'll freeze if you're in vacuum. I mean, if you're in completely isolated vacuum, not room ke andar vacuum. If you're in completely isolated vacuum, you'd most likely freeze. Okay?
So actually, so the law of conservation of energy is, I think, it's like a trick that physicists tell themselves in order to solve numericals.
क्या तू बोलता है, you don't think it really exists?
Sir, there has been some doubt over its existence. Like the one of the primary case is the expansion of our universe, because universe, the speed at which the universe expand is greater than the speed of the light, and there's something which is causing this, because it is not possible if we refer to our laws or the predefined laws, and that thing which affects this or acts as a catalyst is the dark energy, the concept of dark energy, which exists